Good morning, children. This is sixth video of fourth chapter, Thinkers, Beliefs and Buildings. And here we will discuss the growth of Puranic Hinduism, building temples, and grappling with the unfamiliar. So first, the growth of Puranic Hinduism. Children, you must be knowing when the philosophy of Buddhism was growing in subcontinent in 5th century BCE, the similar ideas being developed in different ways in our country that was known as Hinduism. There were two parts of Hinduism, as we discussed earlier, that in Buddhism there were two parts, Hinayan and Mahayana. As in Hinduism, two parts were there, Vaishnavism and Shaivism. So though Hinduism was the oldest one tradition and Buddhism was new one, but both were developing in our country in their own ways, with their own tradition. So Hinduism included Vaishnavism, in which Vishnu was worshipped as single deity, and Shaivism, in which Shiva was regarded as the chief god. So both were the part of Hinduism, but deities were different, and the process of practices, the process of worship also were different. And in these worship, bond between devotee and the god was visualized as love and devotion or bhakti. In the case of Vaishnavism, cults developed around the various avatar or incarnation of God in our country. So 10 avatars were recognized within this tradition. So in Vaishnavism, 10 avatars were regarded as the form of 10 incarnation of Vishnu. But a question arises here, why did these 10 avatars emerge on the earth? So these deities emerged on earth to save the world whenever it was threatened by disorder and destruction because of the dominance of evil forces. So we would say that whenever evil forces occupied this earth, the god has to emerge on earth in different form, and these forms were known as avatars. You must have heard about the Narsimha avatar, when Lord Vishnu had to emerge on the earth to kill Hiranyakashipu, father of Prahlad, and on the day when Hiranyakashipu was killed by Vishnu, we celebrate Holi. So, as like Narsimha avatar, there were 10 avatars there. So, here you will see the picture, the Matsya avatar, Kachap avatar, Varaha avatar, Rama avatar, Krishna avatar, Buddha avatar, as like 10 avatars were there. And these 10 avatars and the god, they were depicted a complex set of ideas about the deities and their attributes through symbols such as headdresses, ornaments, ayut, weapons that deities hold in their hands. So the different avatars and the different form of god of Vishnu, they emerged on the earth in the different attribute, in the different weapons, with the different headgears, with the different dresses. So all were different and all were flourished in the different part of our country. Shiva was symbolized Shaivism, in which Shiva was the main god, chief god. Shiva was symbolized by the ling, though he was occasionally represented in human form too. कभी कभी उन्हें ह्यूमन फॉर्म में दिखाया जाता था, बाकी वो लिंग के रूप में दिखाए जाते थे शिव. So to understand the meaning of these sculptures, historians have to be familiar with the stories behind them. Not only historians, the sculpture artists, they had to be familiar with these stories, and for being familiar with these stories, many of which are contained in Puran, compiled by Brahmins in about the middle of the first millennium CE. So the art historians and the sculpture artists, both they have to become familiar with these stories given in Puran and Upanishad. So what was Puran and Upanishad? Now, they were written in simple Sanskrit form. In Puran and Upanishad, the Puran and Upanishad was the simplest form, elaborated form of the verses, and it was written in the simplest form. As you know, that Vedic Sanskrit was a complex version. Anyone could not understand easily. So, women and Sudras restricted to read and study Vedas. But the Puran, written in simplified version of Sanskrit, and women and Sudras allowed to study and read. So Puran and Upanishad were the simplest form, simplest Sanskrit version and language. So anyone could read and understand easily. So why the whatever given in Puran evolved through interaction amongst people as priest, merchant, and ordinary men and women who traveled from place to place, sharing ideas and beliefs. Now the second one, that is the building temples. So when the Sanchi Stupa was taking its present form, the first temple being immersed, first temple to house images were also being built. The early temple was a small square room called the Garbhagriha. So here you will see the earliest temple which was being built, which was constructed. So this was the one square room, and there was an entrance gate from where the worshippers and the followers, they entered in the Garbhagriha. This room was known as the Garbhagriha, where the main deity, the idol of main deity, was presented, and the follower entered in this gate, and they offer their worship to the image. So gradually a tall structure known as शिखर was built over the central shrine गर्भगृह. शुरुआत में इस तरह के स्क्वायर टाइप रूम्स बनते थे टेम्पल के लिए, लेकिन बाद में धीरे धीरे इसके ऊपर बहुत ही एलोबरेटेड फॉर्म में शिखर बनाए जाने लगे. मंदिर को बहुत ही कॉम्प्लेक्स एंड ह्यूज लुक देने के लिए इसके ऊपर शिखर बनाए जाने लगे. एक बड़ा सा यहाँ बरामदा बनाया जाने लगा, ह्यूज हॉल फॉर प्रेयर असेंबली, एंड जो वॉल्स थे मंदिर के, दोज वर बीइंग डेकोरेटेड बाय द स्कल्पचर्स, डिफरेंट idols and statues, and some more huge walls and gateways and elaborated arrangements for supplying water being included in the temples. So all these were coming in the gradual years, in the coming years. Then Barbara caves. One of the unique feature of early temple was hollowed out of huge rocks as artificial caves. So here you will see the artificial cave. This was constructed in 3rd century BCE. So you will see this was a single piece of rock, and 4 caves were constructed by hollowing out this single piece of rock. This was known as the Barbara caves. It is situated in Bihar near Bodh Gaya, and in 3rd century BCE, by the order of Samrat Ashok, this was offered. These caves were offered to Ajivak sect, the follower of the Ajivak sect. So who were Ajivak sect? They were the different cult which were developing and flourishing in the same time when Buddhism was developing. So Samrat Ashok offered these 4 caves to the followers of Ajivak sect. So this tradition evolved through various stages and culminated much later in the 8th century BCE, 8th century only, in the carving out of an entire temple, that of Kailasnath temple, Ellora. You must have heard about the Kailasnath temple, Ellora, and here you will see the elaborated form of this huge and complex construction and creation. So this was made only by the single piece of rock. So can you imagine? It is unbelievable. So this tradition evolved through various stages and culminated much later in the 8th century in the carving out of an entire temple, that of Kailasnath temple. It is known as the Kailasnath temple, which was constructed in 8th century CE. So a copper plate inscription records the amazement of the chief sculptor when he exclaimed, after he completed the temple Ellora, and he exclaimed, "Oh, how did I make it?" बनाने के बाद उसे खुद पे यकीन नहीं हो रहा था और उसने कहा कि हाउ डिड आई मेक इट, रियली इट इज़ अनबिलीवेबल. Now, can we see everything? As we have seen that we have a rich visual tradition existed in the past, expressed in bricks and stone architectures and sculptures and painting, but out of which much have lost and destroyed. And whatever has been preserved, convey a scene of the vision of the artist and architects who created these spectacular work. So here you will see the last one. This is a picture which is given in your textbook, but the historians couldn't find the meaning and the tradition of these sculpture and the construction and building of these rock paintings, we can say, and the sculpture. So what did he do then? It will be useful to recall that when 19th century European scholars first saw some of the sculpture of god and goddesses, they couldn't understand what these were about. If we talk about the historians, art historians at the time of Britishers, initially they couldn't understand when they saw the figure and statue of Indian god and goddesses. They couldn't understand what these are. But sometimes they were horrified by what seemed to them grotesque figures with multiple arms and heads, or with combination of human and animal form. Human form and animal form, so कुछ उनको समझ में नहीं आ रहा था. The early scholars tried to make sense of what appeared to be strange images by comparing them with the sculpture with which they were familiar, that from ancient Greece. Ancient Greece के जो sculptures थे उससे वो बहुत ज़्यादा familiar थे. और जब जैसा आपको पता है कि नॉर्थ वेस्टर्न साइड जो कि 200 सालों तक किसके अंडर कंट्रोल रहा, वो ग्रीक रूलर्स के अंडर कंट्रोल रहा, एंड मिनेंडर वाज द king at there. So here you will see the different tradition that was the Gandhar tradition. So this is the statue of Mahatma Buddha, and you will see the tradition, the garments and the style made the statue in the Greek style. So this type of tradition and this type of statues, the historians couldn't understand about those. And after that, these were found in the northwest in cities such as Taxila and Peshawar, where Indo-Greek rulers had established kingdoms in the 2nd century BCE. As these images were closest to the Greek statue these scholars were familiar with, they were considered to be the best example of early Indian art. और जब उन्होंने इस हमारे यहाँ के स्टेच्यूज़ एंड गॉड गॉडेसेस की आइडल्स की को कंपेयर किया गांधार शैली से, गांधार स्टाइल में जो मूर्तियाँ बनी हुई थी, फिर उन्हें समझ में आया और फेमिलियर हुए वो, और समझ में आया कि यहाँ जो गॉड एंड गॉडेसेस हैं उनकी मूर्तियाँ ये बनाई गई हैं. Then another problem we have seen that art historians often draw upon textual tradition to understand the meaning of sculptures. सभी जो sculptures थे उनकी meaning historians को समझ में नहीं आया. One of the most intriguing example of this is a famous sculpture along a huge rock surface in Mahabalipuram. अभी जो मैंने आपको दिखाया, this was the sculpture which was not, the historians couldn't crack the meaning and the tradition of this sculpture, and it is made in Mahabalipuram in south. So one of the most so art historians have searched through the Purans to identify it and are sharply divided in their opinions. अब यहाँ पे दो ओपिनियन डेवलप हो गए. एक तो कि जब गंगा अवतरण हुआ था, ये जो आपको कार्व्ड यहाँ पे दिख रहा है, क्रैक दिख रहा है, तो इसका मतलब उन्होंने लगाया कि जब गंगा अवतरण स्वर्ग से पृथ्वी पर लाई गई थी उसको यहाँ पे दिखाया गया है. दूसरा जो एक पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू निकला कि यहाँ पे अर्जुन जो महाभारत काल में पांडव में एक जो अर्जुन थे, उन्होंने आर्म्स के लिए बहुत बड़ी तपस्या की थी गंगा के किनारे, तो उसको यहाँ पे दिखाया गया है. सो डिफरेंट ओपिनियन एंड डिफरेंट पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू डिस्कस्ड गिवन बाय द आर्ट हिस्टोरियंस. सो अदर फील्स दैट इट रिप्रेजेंट्स अ स्टोरी फ्रॉम द महाभारत, अर्जुन डूइंग पेनांस ऑन द रिवर बैंक इन ऑर्डर टू एक्वायर आर्म्स पॉइंटिंग टू द सेंट्रल फिगर ऑफ एन एसेटिक. तो इस तरह से डिफरेंट ओपिनियन प्रचलन में आ गए, और कुछ स्कल्पचर्स ऐसे थे, कुछ चीज़ें ऐसी थी जो न पुराण में हैं न वेद में हैं, और आर्ट हिस्टोरियंस भी इसको क्रैक नहीं कर पाए. So that's all in this video. Thank you.